Welcome to Module 2, Session 2.1. Congratulations for continuing the good work moving forward in this program. How was that last session? I mean, come on, that was a lot of reflection and digging and trying to make sense out of our minds. That last session is probably going to be the hardest or perhaps the most confusing out of them all. But it's important that we do the work meant for us to reach our purpose, passion, and profits. So, welcome to the Enrich session. By this time, we should have more of a firm emotion, or at least a tiny direction of what brings us joy or pleasure that we want to replicate in our daily lives. We're not going to be jumping into getting profits yet from this little inkling of an idea, but we are going to explore more on what it would look like as a good or a service. Again, we're not making money yet, but we want to make sure that that thing we do find is something that will continue to fulfill us in our lives and that we can use to eventually impact others. This really is the long game. If it was something that you could find and do overnight and be a huge success, more than likely it wouldn't fuel you for the long term. This can take some time. So give yourself a breath and a pat on the back because you are now closer than ever before, right here, right now. And for those of you who already have a set path or dream or goal or passion, then awesome, you're ahead of the game. But this portion is still important because it'll make you more relatable to your prospective clients and help you in understanding more of what you have to offer and why it's so valuable. In this session, we are going to do a few light exercises. They are going to tune us into our purpose and passion, and I love these tools. If I had to use one set of coaching tools for the rest of my career, then it would absolutely be visualizations. They are powerful and customizable to no end. If you're not a visual person, then don't worry. I know a ton of modifications so you can still get in on the fun. And do you remember that little bank of ideas I had you write down in the last session? Well, that's right. It's time to bring those bad boys out. What we're going to do is filling those up more in this session to enrich those ideas and just playing with them more to see what makes sense in this session, okay? Before we go on, I did want to share a visualization experience that I believe is the perfect example of blending the mind with your reality. I was conducting a visualization training for student coaches, and I was assisted by a fellow coach and hypnotherapist whom was acting as my client for the demonstration. I was using a tactic called clean language, and we're using that for the visualization training so we can teach the student coaches to better extract metaphors from clients and understand what those metaphors hold within them. Now, I don't want to get too in the weeds. It was a training for visualization, and I had a tool that I was proud of using, and I was using it with a more experienced coach and hypnotherapist who's been in the business for years. Now, the visualization that was coming up in our demonstration was him stuck in building his business. And when he would gain momentum in building his business, he would step into this type of muddy moat or something that was slowing him down drastically. What would come next was he'd hit a brick wall and he'd stop his momentum. Through clean language, we identified what was really being said in this metaphor, and then we had the client create a way to get himself out of the mud or out of his stuckness in building his business. He imagined building a bridge that led him over his stuckness onto the other side of his momentum. And a quick side note here, clean language is something I love doing so much because of my background with spoken word poetry. So it blends beautifully in my coaching practice. If you'd like a clean language session, then please reach out and we can work together around a block or an issue that you're facing. But for now, let's get back on topic. So we finished that training with insights and teaching points and a ton of smiling students. The best part for me though, was actually a few days later when that same experienced coach, hypnotherapist sent me a picture of himself actually walking over a bridge. In the message, he thanked me because he felt that in that moment, he was climbing out of his stuckness. I mean, this was awesome for me because this was a professional coach and hypnotherapist who's been in this business for years, right? Like he knows what's what. But this was also someone who assisted in my development in becoming a coach and hypnotherapist. He trained me when I was going throughout that program, that coaching program. And I was able to create an impact through something I enjoyed learning about, which was clean language. And I was able to make a difference in his life. Okay, so I feel a question coming up. Jose, why does this matter? I'm trying to find my purpose and my passion. And good for you that you're already doing what you love, right? I totally understand that. The reason I use this example is because A, I do love visualization work, and B, this is a great example of blending different things that you're interested in that will still serve your purpose and passion that will lead to profits. So let's not try fitting a square peg in a round hole. Let's allow some trust and faith to guide us because we really want this to be our thing, right? We don't want just that run in the mill. Oh yeah, tried it, stopped it. This is going to be our thing. And the people I love speaking with the most are the people who have a purpose and a drive in their life. And you know some of those people that I'm talking about, that they just have a mission in life and they're going to do whatever it takes. Those people fire me up because in a world of uncertainty, it's refreshing to meet some people that have some clarity and some certainty with where they want to go. Now, I digress. Going back to visualizations, they are an opportunity for us to peek through the window of our future success. They allow us to tap into a bank of energy and excitement, and it's like a little bit of time traveling, if I'm being honest. One of my clients owned a horse farm, but she was getting older and wanted to pass it down to her family so that she can further her therapy business. This was a huge task for her because she loved those animals like her own children, and the thought of stepping away from their day-to-day was causing her some serious anxiety. We visualized what that conversation would look like when her family agreed to take on the horse farm. Now, they already agreed to take the horse farm in real life, but there were no set arrangements in place. It was like something the children assumed that they were going to take over eventually. Now, I wanted to get to that emotion of her leaving the horses in her children's care so she could explore what success would look like. And we created a dialogue with her children, and she did such a fantastic job at making the requests for her horses to be taken care of like she would want them taken care of. And telling her kids all of the little ins and outs they would need to know in order to keep her horses happy and maintain their happiness. This was the most important piece that my client needed help around because she needed to know her horses would have the same care they deserved, and now she would feel comfortable collecting an income from the farm. She came into that session stiff, shoulders tight, short answers, all because of the weight of this decision on her shoulders. After we visualized what a powerful conversation looked like for her to get out all of her concerns about the horse's care, something miraculous happened. Her shoulders dropped, her breathing steadied. A smile crossed her face. She began incorporating jokes in the visualization with her family. It was literally a different client sitting in front of me. We time traveled to the future to get those emotions that we wanted to experience. And then we brought them right back into the present moment. So where am I going with this? Your purpose and passion. Try them out. Try them on. When you have an idea for something that would excite you, put yourself 1 year in the future and test what that would look like for you. Another client of mine, she only wanted to get a job working night shift to build her therapy business during the day. And through a little bit of playing and exploring in coaching, she is now on a mission to build a wellness retreat because of what it would mean for her healing journey and for all of the women who she's seen in her life who have been impacted by the same thing she was impacted by. Beautiful, beautiful end goal. Wear your passion around a little bit in your mind and see if it's something that you can see yourself doing. This will create those feelings that guide you, but it's also going to show you some of the practicalities, what your passion would come with. Now, crossing a bridge became an action that the experienced coach used in his life to represent him climbing out of his stuckness. The experienced coach I worked with was impacted because of something I really enjoyed learning about. I was able to fuse two of my passions together, poetry and coaching. And you may not see it now, but you can and will be able to do the same thing with the bank of ideas that you're creating. So, first activity coming up. And this one is actually just a question, but I say activity to get you more involved. So this one's simple. I want you to imagine yourself walking down the street and someone bumps into you or sees you and they give you a compliment. What type of compliment could you receive that would mean the most to you? Pause the video and take some time to really think about the type of compliment that will move you. Got it? Okay, great. Are you smiling? I bet so. We love getting compliments. And sometimes it's hard to receive them because we might feel like we don't deserve them. But getting a compliment or giving a compliment always makes me smile. Now, imagine yourself receiving that compliment and thanking them for it. Now imagine them asking you if you could teach them what they just complimented you on. What would you say to that? An example that I could share is I was having a casual conversation with my mom, and she told me that she was being complimented on how happy she was. Her coworker said that she just had this glow about her. And if you were to ever meet my mother, you would totally agree the same thing. This special woman radiates wherever she is. So I asked my mom, I said, well, what if they continued on to say, could you teach me how to be happy? And she replied with, well, that's not something I could really teach because... And then she literally went on to teaching me what happiness was and was not, and the pitfalls of pretending to be happy versus actually feeling happy, and so on and so on and so on. I said, Mom, you are literally teaching me to be happy right now. She got the point and laughed, and that was great. But back to you. What is a compliment you can receive that would mean the most to you? And then this kind person asking you if you could teach them what they complimented you on. Please write down your responses right now. So go ahead and pause the video. We'll catch right back up. Great. How did it feel being put in a position where you had to teach something that you were already doing? Hopefully, it felt great because this understanding leads us to the belief that everything we want to create is already within us. You may not see that now, but people want what you already have. Let that sink in for a bit. The knowledge and the experiences you already possess are something people want access to. So, next exercise is going to be to further this teaching and knowledge that you already possess. This goes back to us being an expert in our situations. The good and the bad and the ugly. So imagine yourself as you are right now, and you are given a chance to go back and speak with your younger self. What would you tell your younger self to prevent them from getting into the situation you've gotten yourself into? Pause the video now and answer that question. I'm going to continue on. So, great. What would be the best age for your past self to still be young enough to make a difference, but old enough to really grasp your words and make an impact? Now, there are no wrong answers here, but I will ask you to write down that age that your younger self would be when you communicate with them. Write it down, put a big circle around it. We're going to get back to that later. Now, what would be the good or the bad that you would help your younger version stay away from or lead them into, right? What would be the good or the bad that you would help them stay away from or lead them into? Pause the video now and write down your response. So another question would be, think about your actions and beliefs and what had to happen for you to obtain your success or earn your failure, and write down those actions. Pause the video now. Another question. And What is some evidence you would bring back with you to show your past self that you know what you're talking about? Again, pause the video now and write out the answer to these questions. All right, welcome back, welcome back. How are you feeling? Any closer to your purpose or passion yet? So I would love to speak with you in person and answer any questions. So if you are interested in some one-on-one coaching, then please reach out and we could create some great results together. But right now, we should have a more defined action or service or thing that we are gravitating towards. In order to find a way to monetize your passion, it's going to take for it to be clearly defined. So far, we're just gaining clues and evidence. So again, another activity for us to jump into is another visualization exercise. I want you to imagine yourself 1 year from now, and you're making more than enough money. You have the home you want, or the car you'd like to drive, or the influence you'd like to possess, whatever it is that's on your vision board, which if you don't have a vision board, do a vision board. Now, imagine you are bumping into one of your past customers or clients. Imagine doing this at a place that you frequent most, so it's easier for your mind to make sense of it. But for those really big dreamers, imagine yourself in a foreign country doing a tour you've always wanted to do. And that's when you bump into your clients or customers. So now I want you to see their faces light up when they realize it's you. And they thank you so much for blank. Finish that sentence. What are they thanking you for? What's coming to mind? I mean, what is it that's lighting these people up? Why are they so happy that they just light up at your presence? Pause the video now and explore. Perfect. I hope you did that one. That's a fun one. I can tell you, when I received an email from one of my clients stating that he was moving forward with quitting his job and building his business so he could have more time with his daughter and his wife, I was elated. This was a career that he's been doing for well over, I think it was 32 or 34 years. And he was quitting to commit to himself. Like, seriously, I was in awe at how a conversation could change someone's life. Now, let's enrich some of these ideas. And I don't care if it's a product versus a service versus a new industry that you're dabbling with in your mind, whatever it is, it's okay. There are some necessities if you're going to want to make money from it. Basic necessities would be supply and demand. Do you have something people want? Yes, you do. Now, what people want is a change in their life, but more specifically, people want a change in their state of mind. And through purchasing your product or service or whatever it is that they're going to be obtaining, it's going to be them buying a result of the service or product that you're giving them, of what you're offering. So a good question to ask yourself is, how do I want people to feel when I deliver this product or service? Now, jot your answers down. You can pause the video here. I'm going to continue. Now, again, you don't have to know that specific thing yet. We are getting closer and closer. So the feelings I would love for all of you to experience is hope, purpose, passion, and a curiosity with life and how things could be better. Those are important things for me, for you guys to share, or for you guys to experience. So why are those emotions important for me to get you to experience? Because I have lived most of my adult life and life, actually, being honest, as a young kid as well, with fear and doubt and despair and a numbness with the life that I was creating. If I could serve someone with an emotion that changes their lives, then my goodness, I'm happy to be alive. I'm happy to be of service. So going back a little bit, that age of you that you wrote down earlier, when your younger self would be old enough to listen to you, but young enough to make a huge change in your circumstance. I want you to go back and ask yourself, how would your life have been different if that younger version of yourself listened to everything you had to say? Where would they be now? Where would you be right now? What's fun about this is usually this is the age group of your target market. or the people who will benefit most from your product or service. No matter what you will be doing, you will need to find a demographic for those customers or clients, but we're going to expand on that in later modules. So the age that I would go back to would be 25 years old. And that's just 4 years ago for me, because I truly believed that I needed to go through some pain in my life to understand the pleasures of life, right? It's the night defining the dark, it's the cold defining the hot, it's the good defining the bad. It's one thing that by its existence defines what it's not. And from 24 years old and younger, I was caught in a whirlwind of doubt and fears. So 25 would be the comfortable age for myself. And of course, that's going to be different for you and your clients. But why would I say 25 years old? And yet my target audience is parents pursuing purpose, passion, and profits. Because I was a young parent. I didn't find out my purpose or passion. And for damn sure, I didn't find a way to make profits doing what I loved. So now it's important for me to know that age group that could receive my message. So I want to do a quick check-in here to make sure that we're all on the same page. How are you feeling? Energized, excited, ready to pounce on that next opportunity that crosses your path? Great. So what we're doing is we're pulling out feelings of what we would like to experience every day. And we're experiencing conversations with future potential clients, right? And we're receiving compliments from strangers because of what we've already been doing. Do you have any idea what you would be doing yet? If not, that's okay. This is a process. So I'd like to give another example that actually happened just a few days ago. My buddy and I went fishing, and I asked him what he liked about fishing. He said it was something he was raised doing, and his daddy had been taking him fishing all of his life. So it was everything for him. I asked him if he ever competed in fishing competitions because he's been doing it for such a long time. And I figured that's just something that fishermen do if they do it a long time. I'm not an experienced fisherman. That was like maybe the third or fourth time I ever went fishing in my life. But he replied, no, I've never done any competitions. But at one point I wanted to create a program for kids in the ghetto to learn how to fish. Yeah, my ears perked up. I asked him why that was important to him. And he just said, because he was a kid in the ghetto and he would have wanted that if his daddy didn't do that for him already. I thought, what? This is an incredible idea. I thought to myself, as a kid living in the ghetto, I knew that having an opportunity to learn something and take my mind off my circumstance would have done wonders for me. The next question I asked him, it caught him off guard. And he gave me this crazy look. Right? It was like a crazy look in his eyes. And it was a flicker of hope of something very deep within. I asked him, I said, what would be some teaching points you would want the kids to learn through your fishing program? And he said, calmly and confidently, to stay away from drugs and alcohol and focus on the deeper meaning behind fishing. He went on to say, give a man a fish, feed him for a day, but feed a man a fish, you feed him for a lifetime. I'm blown away, right? He went on to saying that there are so many more important life lessons when fishing. Something as simple as sometimes you don't catch anything, but you go again tomorrow. You can extract so many things from this metaphor of fishing, but I loved this example because we were not in a coaching session. We were friends in line at Walmart buying some worms, and here he was opening up to me about a true passion in his heart. It's always there in us. We just need the tools to extract it. Now, think about what your potential clients are going to appreciate most about working with you. If it's a tangible product that you're offering, then what are some deeper values or messages you can intertwine and interweave with your creations? How would distributing your product make you feel when you light up someone's life? Use your creativity here. Find that message that's buried deep within you and infuse it into your product, infuse it into your service. Now, this session might have felt like it just zipped by. And that's because this session is for you to go back multiple times, do the activities to gain your purpose and passion. There's only so much impact I can have from a recording standpoint. So go back and do these exercises a whole bunch of times. Explore the things that stand out to you. I want you to take more time in between this session and the next session, because it's going to be really important that we figure out what our purpose or passion is. Even if you have a rough draft, that's okay, but really try dialing into this one here and now before starting the next one. And if you didn't get your purpose or passion in the time it took to finish this video, like I said, I get it. Please rewatch, redo, re-energize. Hold your hands up again like you just crossed a finish line and get that energy back into motion. Let that motion guide you. So the next session is engage. And we will be moving pretty fast throughout that session, because now we are beginning to leave the mind and enter reality. And it will be time to start doing some uncomfortable actions, but it will be worth it when you can start influencing your circumstances with your own ideas. Some homework that you will need to get done before starting the next session is have 5 conversations with people you are close with and ask them, what is something that you've helped them out with? What is a pleasant memory where you have impacted them? Be a little selfish here to figure out the things that you've already done. These are clues. Get these answers down and begin blending some of these with the bank of ideas you've been creating so far. Please do this before we start the next session, because we're really going to be moving forward with action steps to solidify your idea and introduce ways to start making money from this idea. Thank you again for making it to the end. And I really am excited for you to complete this program. Please feel free to reach out to me over Facebook, Instagram, or email, just letting me know what you think about the course so far. I'm really excited about what's coming up. So let's slow down here to speed up there. Do these exercises. Take the time you deserve. I look forward to seeing you in the next session. Take care.